Now, a customer just sent me through these photographs, and he's asking me why I think that this is happening. So, realistically, what I see in these photographs is a Sarking felt that is one of the older types, which sort of gives us a date of what's going on, because these plastic Sarking felts, that 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we really stopped using them. So, we're talking about 2015, we stopped using them as much. You can still buy them, but we stopped using them much. So, this is a 10 or 15-year-old roof, if not older. I can see by these timbers that this is a truss rather than a traditional cut. If I show you this is what we call traditional cut, where the timbers are 400 centres. Where we go back to this one, these are 600 centres on this, going backward and forward. Whoever put this felt in, anyhow, this, we call it a Sarking felt, or you call it an underfelt, has put it in too tight. There should be a drape in the centre, like so. So if you do get a leak at any of these particular points all the way along here, it can the water can run to the centre and run down. Otherwise, you're going to get problems at these particular points, or you could get problems at those particular points where there's leaks, and you could get water coming through. And here, someone's tried to put some kind of venting system in. These things are something that are on the market that are particularly for this, because they hold it open here and hopefully promoting movement of air from the tiles which are behind, which hopefully are an air open tile rather than an air closed tile, and air can come through and help ventilate the roof. Now down here, this looks like the insulation has been pushed too tightly up against the Sarking felt, and if there is any ventilation down there at the eaves, well then this looks like it's blocking it, and sometimes there's a special tray up there that stops that from coming through. But this particular person sent us through a load of different photographs. We can see here typical truss going on. We can see there's lots and lots of mould on this. The way the truss was plated together here in the factory, because these will all be brought in rather than made on site, all brought in, craned in on a particular estate or something like that, and the whole 2 or 3 houses would be, or more, would have been built at the same time. But there's no ventilation up here. If you see, they've taken the Sarking felt right up and over the top, and so far I haven't seen any ventilation on this whatsoever. One of the good things that I can say for this gentleman here is that the timber work actually doesn't look like it's suffered too badly. Now, going back to this particular photograph here, we can actually see that that line there is where the battens on the outside would be, and because the battens are there, they're just keeping it slightly warmer. Therefore, that's why we haven't got the growth at that particular point, where we got more growth there and growth there. That's where we'll be close to the back of the tile, which means that there'll be more thermal bridging, and when there's more thermal bridging, you've got more chance of sweating. When you've got more chance of sweating, then you've got more chance of the mould growing. So that's really interesting that you can see that. And a lot of people would question why you see it more at the bottom here, and that's because of a number of different things, but generally it's because of the way that there will be some heat that comes through from the insulation that gets up here. So it's probably a slightly warmer environment up here than it is down there, and that's why you've got more at the lower area. But there could be other things as well. I'm just going through these photographs as it is, so there'll be other things that will come into mind. I'm going to talk about the heat retention of this insulation in a second. So let's just have a look at some more of the photographs. So this is a close-up of this vent here, and you can see all the moisture around there, and that could be it could, when he took this photograph, it could have been very high humidity outside. The air that was coming in could have been bringing in more moisture, or there could be more moisture going out and it's cold because of where it is, because that must be very tight to the back of the tiles just there, and he's actually getting condensation on that there. And we can see, look how tight that is down there. Now we can start seeing the build. I mean, this looks like it's a 10, 20, 30-year-old build on there. That's a lovely concrete, interlocking concrete tile. They're really great heavy tiles up there. Unfortunately, I can't see if there is any ventilation put in at that soffit and gutterboard area. We can see there are some vents on it. Didn't see any internally on that. So that's it. They're all the pictures that we've got. But if we come back to here, this is really interesting, because one of the things that I think is going wrong with the way that we're looking at this, and these are my own opinions of what's going on. The fact is that the more thermal insulation that we actually put into a loft at this area, but I should state a few things here. First of all, the ceiling needs to be fully sealed down below to help stop humidity from the rooms down below getting up into this loft space. This could be one of the problems why this problem is on this in this roof, because of rising humidity from inside. But so that must be done whatever happens. And to try and fix this, it's to put more vents in. So even though there isn't a vent at that down there, there would be nothing stopping him from putting in some vent tiles higher up. This is a very tricky area to get the thermal insulation. You could pull it back, but then you get thermal bridging off from the ceiling and from the outside wall. So pushing it tight up against the Sarking felt is an option. Putting in a system right down there, which is a corrugated system that you can put there, which can help promote ventilation from the soffit board. That could help as well. But just bringing in more ventilation is only part of the story. The fact that we're putting more thermal insulation into the roof is quite rightly stopping the loss of energy, the loss of heat from down below. That loss of heat down below has got drying potential for the cold space which is up here. So by putting more thermal insulation in, we're stopping the loss of the heat from drying out the roof space and from keeping it slightly warm. So this roof in the winter will spend longer colder, and that is not a good thing. So it's quite an interesting scenario. We're finding that we're getting more and more problems with lofts now that we're putting more loft insulation in, and it's just a matter of physics. You change one thing, you get another problem. So the more insulation that we put in, the colder the loft space is, the less possibility it has got for drying out. Putting in more vents may take out any moisture that's in there, but then what you've got to realise is that sometimes the external relative humidity is quite high, and you can get this scenario when you're actually bringing in more humidity from the air outside than was actually in the loft space in the first place. Now, if that happens, maybe it was cold outside and there was rain outside, and you've got very, very high humidity, and you're bringing in 80, 85, 90% humidity into the loft space, and at night time you get a frost on the outside with high humidity, low temperature outside. No wonder this kind of thing is going to happen. Now, it might sound silly, but one of the ways to deal with that would be to have vents that open and shut. Well, that's going to be so difficult to have vents that open and shut. So rather than doing that, the old way of doing it would have been to allow the warmth air to get up into this area, to raise the temperature just above what we call the dew point, to stop that all from happening. But of course we don't want to do that because of the loss of energy, hence why we're going around in this circle. So one of the things that you can do in this, and it might sound really a weird way of doing it, but is to put a heater up there. By putting a heater up there, and you've got to make sure that heater is a safe heater, put a heater up there with a thermostatic control on it, so that as and when the temperature up there drops low enough, and you can also get them that have got humidity sensors on them as well, so this can be quite finely tuned so that the heater comes on when it gets exceptionally cold, only when it gets cold. And if you think about it, that's only going to be a few days, if not a couple of weeks, a few hours in those days, probably at night time, and the amount of energy you're going to use up there is going to be quite minimal to keep this at bay and to stop this kind of thing happening. It just raises the internal temperature enough that you don't raise the dew point, and the cost of doing so, or the cost of running that on the way of energy, is going to be really, really very small. Now, of course, you could say, well, why don't we just not put in so much insulation and let that energy come through to do the same thing? Well, because that means that you've got a loss of energy throughout a bigger period of time. You're much better off to control it. So, summing up on this, what would I do? Well, I would continually monitor this. You can get some really good monitors on Amazon and other places like that, relative humidity monitors. You can place them in 3 or 4 different places. You can place them at high level, you can place them at low level, close to the outside, in the middle of the loft. You could put a heater up there. There's all sorts of different things that you can do, and by doing different things you could tweak this environment so that this just doesn't happen. So it may be that just by adding ventilation that you can stop this from happening, but it's the kind of thing that needs tweaking, and there are many different options. But I would start by the ventilation to begin with, and I would also start with just monitoring this. So if this has been helpful for anybody, please get back to me. Love to see your emails and your photos. Thank you very much. Speak soon.